Good evening, everyone. My name is Carrie, and I'm the director of the Youth Empowerment Program at UA3. UA3 is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to make a positive impact and lasting improvements in the underserved segments of our communities. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to provide thousands of families fresh produce and PPE to keep them healthy and strong through our Community First Food Pantry program. Additionally, this year, we've launched a youth empowerment program. This is a free year-round after-school program designed to empower high school and college-age youth. Our goal is to support their overall well-being and career development. We offer exciting opportunities such as community service hours and company visits to locations like Morgan Stanley, National Grid, and many others. Currently, we host workshops every Wednesdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Chinatown YMCA, and we've invited many guest speakers to deliver wonderful workshops on topics such as mental health, physical health, and building healthy teen relationships. In the following weeks, we'll continue to host workshops on Wednesdays on topics such as resume building, stress reduction, budgeting, public speaking, and so on. The application of the Youth Empowerment Program is ongoing, and we would love for you to join us. Thank you all for your time, and thank you to the translation team, Diana Aldohondo and Bernard Cho. And now I'll hand it over to John Carroll.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Carl Ziegler. I am the coordinator of Student Financial Services at CUNY Brooklyn College. And joining me tonight is Sergine Antoine. She is a connection coach that works in our one-stop at the ESC, otherwise known as the Enrollment Services Center. We have two other team members that couldn't be with us tonight, but allow me to introduce them as well. Natalie Guarna, who is our Director of Student Financial Services, and Elisa Salgado, who is also a connection coach, just like Sergine. So we're going to have a PowerPoint presentation on how to finance your education, a presentation put together by myself and the other aforementioned staff members of Student Financial Services. So I am going to share my screen, and with that, we will get into the presentation. So, as you can see on the right-hand side, there's Buster the Bulldog. He is our mascot. And what we're going to do right now is give you some information on how to apply for FAFSA, New York State aid, and other scholarships, and other general information that will come in handy when it's time to complete the 24-25 FAFSA application. I will run through the first half of the slideshow. Sergine will follow with the second half. And from there, we will have a quick Q&A session, roughly about 10 minutes, to answer any general questions about what we just spoke about, or anything that's on your mind regarding this process, because I know a lot of it is probably new to most of you, especially parents, if your children are first time attending college. If you already have a son or a daughter in school already, maybe this is your second time around, and it might not be as daunting. However, you know, we want to try and provide you with some information to make this process a bit smoother as you progress throughout the 2024 calendar year. So now, FAFSA. So that acronym is the free application for federal student aid. Now, if you want to complete a FAFSA application, you would go to studentaid.gov. Now, on the FAFSA application, you can use many different colleges. Our school code for Brooklyn College, if your intention is to use our school, is 002687. The new FAFSA application becomes available online on or about October 1st of every year. For 24-25, it was a little bit different. It was available in late December. However, October 1st is typically when you start to see the application going live. The deadline to file is June 30th, and not June 30th of this coming year. It would be for the following year. because the 24-25 FAFSA, common misconception, a lot of people, aren't aware that the FAFSA is for the entire calendar year. So you figure from from about August of 2024 all the way through the conclusion of the spring semester of 2025. All right. And one thing to note as well is that it's something you have to reapply for each year, because each time you complete the FAFSA, they'll be going off of a different tax year. So it's important that, it doesn't roll over to the next year. You would have to reapply. The good news is that, once you've completed the FAFSA the first time, once you do it the second and third time, it becomes, second nature. So, fear not. I think, it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You might fall off once or twice or three times, but once you get the hang of it, you're not going to forget how to do it. Just make sure you use a different tax year each time you file. And with that, that brings the last bullet. You need your federal taxes from 2 years prior. So when you're completing the application for 24-25, you'll be using the tax information from the 2022 calendar year. FAFSA changes an overview. So there were some changes that, from 23-24 to 24-25 that did occur. Was recently known as and until this day, the EFC, which is an acronym that stands for Expected Family Contribution. It is now being called the Student Aid Index. So the SAI will replace the acronym of EFC on the FAFSA. There's a new definition of cost of attendance. So cost of attendance minus student aid index minus other financial assistance equals financial need. Cost of attendance includes tuition and fees, food and housing, books and supplies, including renting or purchasing a personal computer, and miscellaneous expenses and transportation. Ultimate goal is to expand access to student aid in a streamlined application, which uses federal tax information received directly from the IRS and removes questions about selective service registration and drug convictions. The introduction of contributors to the FAFSA form are also there. What's a contributor? A contributor can be defined as a parent, other parent, student spouse, and student. So, in a nutshell, changes were made to streamline the process and make it easier for students and parents to tackle the application, finish it in a timely fashion, and potentially expand access to student federal aid, which is called a Pell Award. Just had a question pop up on my screen here. I'm going to just minimize that. So we will be getting to questions later on. We'll, just want to let you know that if your question is not answered right now, we will be getting to it at the end of the presentation. Like I said, Sergine and I will dedicate about 10 minutes to go through them, but I did see that question. Just so the person who sent it doesn't think that I didn't see it. I did see it, and we'll promise to get to it later. So now we're going to move on to New York State aid. Now, what does that mean? That's TAP. TAP is the New York State Tuition Assistance Program. The school code for Brooklyn College is 1410. In addition to New York State aid, the TAP application, there are New York State scholarships. You can apply directly from the FAFSA hyperlink or at the TAP website, which is www.hesc.ny.gov. And there is also the Senator Jose Peralta New York State DREAM Act on the HESC website as well. This, just like FAFSA, is an application, TAP being, that you would need to reapply each year. You must complete a FAFSA application first before applying for TAP. And New York State aid is only available for New York residents, New York State residents, very important. So now we also have separate applications, scholarships, and loans. So New York's Excelsior Scholarship was brought into existence during the 2017-2018 academic year. Fast forward to 2024, it's still going strong. This scholarship opportunity are for New York State residents pursuing a bachelor's degree who are U.S. citizens, permanent residents, or other eligible non-citizens. Student must register as a full-time student and successfully complete 30 credits per year, and that includes the winter and summer sessions as well. You have to complete the FAFSA and TAP applications prior to the Excelsior application deadline. And students have 8 potential semesters of eligibility beginning in their first semester, lasting 4 consecutive years. There's other criteria as well. We're not going to get into all of them. Those are just some of them right there. Off the top of my head, you have to maintain a GPA of 2.0 or higher throughout the duration of your college career. And there are additional Excelsior FAQs that can be found on the hsc.ny.gov website. And with that, we're going to touch just briefly on federal direct student loans. Once your FAFSA has been successfully submitted and processed, you can apply for a student loan through Brooklyn College's online application, available on our school's official website. And we want you to make sure that you are enrolled for at least 6 credits. Otherwise, the loan application will be rejected. So now we're just reaching the point where we have Brooklyn College scholarships and awards. And with that, I am going to stop the screen share for the time being. And before Sergine gets into the second half of the application, I'd like to throw it to our sponsors at UA3 for an important message.
I want to introduce Chris Marte. Can we get him on the screen and say a few words of thank you?
Thank you, Don. And thank you everyone for being on here, all the volunteers at UA3 Brooklyn College. I know how important financial aid is. If it wasn't for the financial aid in New York State and for our federal government, I wouldn't have the opportunity to go to college. I was able to apply to many scholarships because of tutorials like this that told me what's available and how to get to there. We all know the biggest barrier into colleges is financial support, but also another barrier is understanding how much financial support and whether you qualify or not. So thank you again, UA3, for making this possible. And thank you for the students who are on and will see this recording, because the first step of getting into college is knowing what the opportunities that could make it possible for you. And so thank you all for doing this. I'm here just to support and say to the students, this is the first step. I know you're going to do great and be able to have the opportunity of a lifetime. Take care.
Thank you again, Chris Marte, for helping fund this. Okay, let's move on to if Susan Zhang, council member, I don't believe is on. She's the other half that helped sponsor this. But if not, let's move on to our second half.
All right, and with that said, I am going to share the screen once again, and I will throw it to my colleague, Sergine Antoine, who is a connection coach at Brooklyn College in the Enrollment Services Center, which is located in our West Quad building on Brooklyn College's, can't find the word, campus. There you go. Can't forget that word. All right, Sergine, take it away.
Thank you, John Carl. Good evening, everyone. So Brooklyn College does have a scholarships and awards office, and Brooklyn College as a whole does offer more than $1 million to undergraduate and graduate students each year through over 600 scholarships, awards, and prizes. Our general undergraduate scholarship eligibility is listed on the screen. Just to go through them, you have to be currently registered at Brooklyn College and attending classes. You must be in good academic standing, and you need to have a FAFSA on file for corresponding age year for need-based scholarships. How do you apply? Well, you'd have to visit the scholarships and award page on the Brooklyn College website and follow those links for the online application. You just answer the essay questions provided and provide 2 letters of recommendation. And then from there, the scholarship office for the general undergraduate scholarship application handpicks which scholarships you're eligible. You also want to, we'll touch upon private and alternative loans. They are a form of financial aid that must be repaid with interest, and these are loans outside of federal direct loans. If you do end up attending Brooklyn College, we do have financial aid advisors that are available to talk to you about what loan options are available outside of federal direct loans. But do keep in mind that some of these loans do require either a cosigner, and these are the loans that you would get from Sally Mae, or say a bank or a credit union or some other financial institution. And if you ever have any questions about anything, do email the scholarship office at the email address scholarship@brooklyn.cuny.edu, or you can call our Student Financial Services call center at 718-951-4796. We can head to the next screen. In terms of getting help, so for completing the FAFSA form, you want to use these free tools. We understand that 24 to 25 is a new application, so there are some tools that are readily available so that you can try to fill out the application as smoothly as possible. So you want to go ahead, if you're answering any questions on the FAFSA, click on any question mark icons that are available next to a FAFSA question to view additional information on how to answer that question. You can visit FAFSA Help for the 24 to 25 FAFSA form, like answers to common questions that people may have. You may call the Federal Student Aid Information Call Center. They have a number, it's 800.433.3243. You could just take a picture of the slide if that makes it easier instead of jotting the number down. You can also, when you're on studentaid.gov, there is a virtual assistant by the name of Aiden. You can chat with Aiden. Basically, a robot, you just answer questions and he has pre-filled answers. You can also obviously participate in virtual FAFSA workshops conducted by CUNY, and a lot of them are scheduled to begin in late February. Now, in terms of the application timeline, with the 2024 to 2025 FAFSA, we are going to be receiving those applications at all of the colleges and at Brooklyn College as well in mid-March. That's very important because as we move down the timeline, you'll notice that as opposed to prior years, your award letter will be issued a bit later than usual, but that means you will be getting your award letters CUNY-wide on May 8th. And it's available to students through CUNY First, and they'll more than likely also provide you an email copy. And now as we progress through that timeline, you will then use that award letter. It will be emailed to you. It'll be available on CUNY First a bit sooner. Emails might take a little bit longer, but you then use that award letter to determine which college that you'd like to attend, and hopefully that college will be Brooklyn College. But we want to make sure that you have those award letters in time to go ahead and on the last step of the application timeline to go ahead and make your decision. Now, the decision date for this year was pushed back a little bit. So June 1st is the timeline, the tentative date that we're looking at. And depending on if everything goes well, we'll go ahead and just communicate with students if there's any changes, if there's any delays, because of course, there's been delays before with the U.S. Department of Education, but we'll be in constant communication with prospective students and we'll go ahead and let you know. But June 1st is the tentative date that we are looking forward to have all the students determine whether they'd like to attend Brooklyn College for the following age year. Now, there's another tool available for students in terms of determining what your financial aid package, what your financial aid awards might look like based on the information that you have readily available to you. It's called the CUNY Financial Aid Estimator, and it was recently innovated. It was recently improved to provide you a better overall look of what your package might be with the information that you do have. So this planning tool estimates what your financial aid award as a student will be if you were to attend any of the CUNY colleges. And on the actual estimator, it'll ask you like which college you'd like to attend, because the tuition and fees might be a tad bit different depending on which college that you go to and which courses that you take. But it does show the estimated cost of attending minus the student's estimated financial aid. Now, the completion of the financial aid estimator is not an application for financial aid. It is important that you do go ahead and fill out your FAFSA application, as we mentioned before, and your TAP application, because those work together to go ahead and provide you your financial aid package, as well as if you decide to apply for Excelsior, that is the bundled package. But you can find the CUNY Financial Aid Estimator at the simple link right there, npc.cuny.edu. And please note that the estimates provided using this calculate don't represent a final determination of what an actual award of financial assistance or final net price of attendance at your chosen college will be. It is just an estimate. But you have access to this resource to go ahead and plan And you also have to fill out your FAFSA before you use the CUNY Financial Aid Estimator, because you do need that SAI, that student aid index number that's provided from filling out your FAFSA, to go ahead and plug that into the financial aid estimator net price calculator that's available for CUNY. So some other resources that are available. Once again, we have listed our school codes. So when you're going in and filling out your FAFSA and your TAP application, you want to go ahead and note those school codes for Brooklyn College, because you want to make sure you have the right school codes on your application, so that as soon as those FAFSAs are sent to the college, they're given to Brooklyn College in a timely manner, so that you can receive your financial aid package in a timely manner. The financial aid does have a website on the Brooklyn College website. Note that link on the screen. And there's also an email address. Simply, it's finaid, FINAID, at brooklyn.cuny.edu. We do have virtual office hours. If you have any questions, feel free to hop on a Zoom call with one of the representatives from Student Financial Services on Mondays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. We have a call center. You can call us at 718-951-5234. You can also come into the Enrollment Services Center if you're ever on a campus tour. We're right there on the first floor of the same building where the campus tours do start. Monday through Friday, we're there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to answer all of your questions. Now, in terms of paying your tuition outside of financial aid, another resource available to you is the Nelnet monthly payment plan. You can divide what your tuition balance is into several installments over the course of the semester that you're applying for. So essentially how this works is that the earlier you enroll, the earlier that you can enroll in the payment plan. So as soon as registration opens up for a semester, you can go ahead and also register for a payment plan to pay off whatever balance you would have to pay for that semester out of pocket. It can include up to 6 installments, but do note that as you move closer and closer towards the start date of that actual term, the installments do decrease down to 3 installments. Now, if you decide to pay your tuition in a lump sum on CUNY first, you can do so with the e-check, which has no additional service fees, which you just need the bank account and the routing number for the bank account that you'd be using, or you can use a credit or debit card, but that does include a 2.65% service fee. Now, as we are moving towards the conclusion of our presentation, this is where we'll open up the floor and we'll have the next 5 to 10 minutes for any questions that you may have. I do see that there are 5 Q&As in the chat below. So John Carl will go ahead and start with the first question, and we might go back and forth and piggyback off of each other in terms of answering questions.
Yeah, let's go for it. So let's see. I'm going through the Q&A right now, and then Sean, who can help us fill out the FAFSA. So Sean, that would go back. Sergine touched on it. Was one of the slides that she had touched on. If you go on the studentaid.gov website, there is on the top right-hand corner, there is a help center. And if you click the button for a help center, you'll be asked if you're a parent or a student. If you click on one or the other, depending on which one you fall under. And then, of course, based off that, there is a phone number. There, I believe there is a virtual chat where you can chat with, I believe Aiden is his name, right, Sergine? Aiden is going to be in the chat, and then there's an email and a phone number as well. And if you have any questions, they'll be able to assist you in the completion of the application. And there's also a option where you can put your mouse over the question for a helpful hint, or it'll give you like a Cliff Note version of how to answer the question should you need additional assistance. And Sergine is also typing in there as well. And then applying for TAP. I'll grab this one, Sergine, and you can hop on the next two. Applying for TAP, that's on the hesc.ny.gov website. Normally, you can actually do the TAP application through the FAFSA application. You'll do the FAFSA first, and there'll be a link that'll take you to the completion. So that there's a built-in link there so that you can complete both in one fell swoop. And that brings us to Sean's next question. I like it. Sean is very active here. This is excellent. All right, Sergine, take it away.
All right, the question is, can you get financial aid as a non-full-time student? And the answer is yes, there is financial aid for part-time study. But please do be aware that part-time study under 6 credits, you might not receive as much financial aid as you would if you were in between 6 and 12 credits. So for full-time status, you would have to be maintaining at least 12 credits per semester. But there is part-time financial aid available either through your FAFSA, and now there is APTS through TAP, which is just a TAP award for part-time study, and you have to maintain at least 9 to 11 credits for that. But if you fall underneath 9 credits, you always know that you do have that Pell Grant to fall back on.
And then the next question was on loan forgiveness regarding availability and if that is a possibility, Sergine.
Okay, so in terms of loan forgiveness, there are very specific criteria. I understand that this is a general question, but I'm going to go ahead and include the link to the page where you can get more information about that, because it does get very specific in terms of who your employer is and the duration of time. But generally, it's if you work within, we'll say, for a public service, it depends state by state, but for New York State, you'd have to work either for, if you're a teacher, a lot of times you'd have to work in a school that has more needs and more demands than other schools for at least 10 years. So the criteria is very specific. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link to the loan forgiveness page so that you can receive more information about that. There are loan forgiveness programs, and at any time, if you have any questions, you could always email us, you can call us, and you can join the virtual, and we'll definitely answer those questions on a more specific basis. But if we get into loan forgiveness, it does get past that 10-minute mark. It does get pretty extensive. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to drop the link in the chat below. Are the links available to everyone in the Zoom, or is it just sending it to Sean privately? I hope it's available to everyone.
I guess you could send it there or put it in the webinar chat in case, if any of the other attendees maybe want to utilize that or check it out for themselves.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead.
Yeah, that's one thing, Brooklyn College prides itself on, as an office of student financial services, we try to give you as many resources as possible. Whether that's an office that's on campus or like, for example, what Sergine just did, dropping that link in there. So we definitely want to provide you with as much as possible to succeed, find the answers to your questions, and make you feel good about it. We love to help, and that's what we do every day, So, and that brings us to the final question about the financial aid package. Now, there have been some delays with respect to that with student aid indexes. Sergine, at last glance, we were looking at sometime in March. Is that accurate, or that March date rings a bell?
So the actual award letters are being sent out in May.
They're May, yeah.
From May 8th to May 16th. That was in the previous slide. So within those days.
May, yeah.
Yeah. So you'll definitely see it on CUNY First by May 8th, but that is a tentative date, requiring that the education department is able to send out those FAFSAs. And there are no delays, there are no issues with receiving them at the schools. But May 8th is the tentative date that we're looking at. And between May 8th to May 16th, emails will be sent out to each student about their financial aid package.
Yeah, so you figured that second and third week of May are going to be very critical, and just keep a lookout, your emails, your mailboxes, and all that fun stuff. So that pretty much concludes the festivities for tonight. I want to thank Sergine Antoine for coming out. I want to thank my team at Brooklyn College for putting together the slideshow, and for just being great and wonderful individuals that show up to work every day and have a student first mentality. It's certainly rubbed off on me and all the members of the Enrollment Services Center and Student Financial Services in general. And Sergine, is there anything you'd like to add before we adjourn for the night?
Of course. I mean, yes, this is the end of our presentation, and we're sad to see you all go. But I hope you did find this presentation helpful, and thank you all for your time and your attention. I personally know that the transition into tertiary education, it's not always straightforward, it's not always easy, but do understand us at Brooklyn College, we're committed to supporting prospective students and their parents in these times, especially with this new FAFSA rolling out. So definitely feel free to contact us. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, Raymond, we want to thank you. You're on.
Thank you for you guys joining together, and special thank you the organizer. Thank you for the speaker John class and Sanjin and Antonio from Brooklyn College Student Financial Service. Yeah, thank you City Council Susan Jiang or other organizer. Yeah, thank you very much.